Hello, and welcome back to Happy Time, Happy Money podcast. And today we have Oleg from Coinrule. He is a co-founder of Coinrule, a YCombinator backed startup, which is all about catching the next market opportunity on your behalf by automating your investments. With Coinrule, hobbyist investor can compete with professional traders and hedge funds by creating automated strategies for crypto as well as stocks. Hi, that's exciting. Hi, welcome.
Thank you so much. Great to be here. Hi, Viktoriia.
Well, good to meet you. And I am so eager to dive in right to the technology and the startup. But before that, I would love for you to share your story. How did you start it? What inspired you to start this company? And what inspired you to keep going?
Sure. Well, let me tell you a little bit about my background. So I was born in Eastern Europe, former Soviet Union, moved with my family first to Sweden. We were actually living in a refugee camp there for a while, so it's a bit of a crazy story. Not gonna dive too much into that, but moved to Germany later. I came to the UK to study, went to study it in London and Oxford, and then worked in banking. So I was working in banking for about 4 years. Between 2012, 2016, I was working at Citibank here in London. And whilst banking, it's nice, it's a good start to a career, but ultimately it wasn't really that exciting if you think about it. And I knew I wanted to do something else. So I ended up quitting banking in 2016, started my first startup, which totally failed, didn't really work out with my co-founders. It was a career mentoring platform at the time called Giberstein. But what I did start to get into around that time, and that's like 2016, 2017, I really started to get into the whole blockchain cryptocurrency world. So I was always quite a nerd for anything, digital private currencies. I was aware of Bitcoin, but the opportunity cost of being in banking is you don't really have time for anything else. So whilst I was aware of it, I didn't really do anything about it. So as I was doing my own startup, I started going to events, meeting people, and at some point I just went down the rabbit hole. It blew my mind, and I couldn't do anything else but crypto since. So what happened was I'd met my current co-founders, Gabriele Musella and Zdenek Höfler. I met them during an accelerator program in London that I was doing with my first startup. And I kind of kept talking to them. And the three of us were really getting into crypto at the time. And all of us had one specific issue, which is we were buying cryptos, realizing it's a 24/7 market. Prices move. You can't be sitting in front of your computer and just press buy and sell all the time. You want to be able to build some kind of strategies and do more interesting things really, rather than just buy and sell. And there really wasn't anything in the market that was easy to do for us. Yes, you could code algorithmic trading strategies, but that's really complex and takes a lot of time. And yeah, we got together, we started building Coinrule, started it really in late 2018, raised some funding in 2019, and then things really started to grow last year. This year, as you mentioned, we went through YCombinator, raised a seed round of 2.2 million, some really great investors on board, so founders of Fitbit, Twitch, kayak.com, 8 Sleeps, all joined our round, which is super cool. And yeah, we've been really growing the team and just having a lot of growth ever since.
Wow, this is inspiring. I always love, to hear. When I learned about crypto, I couldn't do anything else. Like you said, this is so cool. So tell us more about what is it, Coinrule, and what does it do?
Sure. So Coinrule helps normal people to build automated trading strategies for cryptocurrencies. So let's say you want to build a strategy that says if the price of Bitcoin goes up 5% in 2 hours and volume increases by 10 million US dollars, I want to buy $1,000 of Bitcoin. Create that rule with an if this then that logic, you press launch and it goes into the market. Super nice, super simple. Of course, you can build really also powerful strategies. You can create multiple steps. If this happens, then do this and then that, and basically kind of run this type of logics. And what we also have is we have a demo exchange, so you can test your strategies on basically a fake exchange which is like modeled on Binance, which is one of the largest crypto exchanges. So you test your strategy, you see how it would perform, and then you launch it live. And that's what makes Coinrule special.
Wow, that sounds like a simple tool to use if you don't want to monitor markets all the time. And I mean, I personally know how to detect, analyze, and trade. And for note for women, it's terrible. I don't want to do that. It's like we are very emotional human beings, and we have that time in the month where we're like super emotional. And if you add that time sitting in the computer and watching, your things goes down like by 30%, it's like you don't want to be there.
Yeah. Well, in a way, that's why you need an automated trading strategy, because it kind of takes out the emotions from it.
Yes.
And you mentioned technical analysis, so you can use moving average, you can automate moving averages, relative strength index, and also you can integrate us with trading view, and basically you can build you can use any kind of indicator and then connect that to your Coinrule strategy, and then that will trigger it.
That is so cool.
Exactly. And what we're seeing is, I mean, obviously we have people use us who know their trading, and like people like you who are kind of familiar really with technical analysis, but then we have a really supportive community, and we're really focused also on the educational side of things. So we get a lot of beginners who don't know much about these things, but they do want to get started. And then we make it quite easy for them to get started with trading.
So you have an educational portion of that as well. So what would you say for those who are like zero, and I think my audience, most of it doesn't know much about trading, where do they get to start? Where to start?
Yeah, so there are two types of people here, really, to simplify it. There are those who are curious and interested to get a bit more into trading, and then there are a lot of people who who might not actually be interested. They want to invest, but they don't want to actually engage with it. Now, for those who don't really want to engage with it, the best thing to do, especially if you're getting into crypto, would be to focus on something like Bitcoin and Ethereum. It's the two biggest cryptocurrencies. Forget about like all the other stuff if you don't want to really engage with it, and just dollar cost average. That's what I've been recommending. Like all those family members and friends who ask you about crypto investing who have never touched it before. So what I tell them, look, put aside a small amount of money that you're willing to put in per month, and then just set up a standing order, send it to your exchange, $100, whatever you're comfortable with. I actually personally even use Coinrule for that. So I sent a standing order to Coinbase, and then Coinrule automates the buy every month part of it. So every month buying Bitcoin, buying Ethereum, and just like, forget about it for 5 to 10 years, and then you'll look at it and you'll be very happy. Now, for the number of people who actually are want to become more active in trading, really want to get into it, well, that's really, welcome. That's exciting. And I think there's more and more people like that, right? Thanks to, Robinhood and like this rise of the millennial investor, millennial trader. Now, obviously, put aside some money that, again, you're comfortable to lose to kind of really learn the ropes, and then join a community like ours, because obviously I'm biased here, but I've seen how people have, over the last year, 2 years, really like joined the community, really learned, really started to kind of become significantly better traders, which is super like motivating to see. So there's a free version of Coinrule. You can start with that, join the community, learn from people, read the articles, start building proofs, and then start to trade. And you'll see that you improve over time.
Yeah, like everything, it's a skill, and you get to start learning and little by little getting it. I like the automation system. I think Binance just announced that they are created automated buys as well. So which is, I know you work at Binance, so that's also, it's a great news, and it becomes easier and easier. The exchanges become so much more robust and just easier and for everybody's use.
Yeah.
Awesome. I wanted to talk more about like how you also build, a business, build a team. And I know that there are a shortage of blockchain developers. It's such a young industry that we we just don't, like, there is no education on it. Like, you go to the university and you become a blockchain specialist, but like, how do you find those people, and where do you recruit them?
Sure. So actually, most of our platform, so we run on top of exchanges like Binance and Coinbase, right? So we don't actually work directly that much with blockchain. We are building a proof of concept for, around decentralized finance, which does need blockchain. And most of those people, you really find them through your network. I'm quite involved in the community. I know a lot of people, friends refer friends, that kind of thing. They're specialized jobs list. There's something called the crypto jobs list, which is a really good site. Like, we are big fans. So that's usually where people go. A lot of people honestly just get recruited through like Twitter and Discord. It's like everything has gone really like underground in a way, which is cool. This is kind of the ethos of the community. It's all based on relationships, and yeah, that's how it works.
So cryptojobs.com. If you want to build your own crypto company.
I think it's crypto jobs list, but I'll double check that. Maybe you can put that into the show notes.
Sure. Yeah, we'll check right after and add that to our show notes as well. And also, there's not that many women in the world that are in crypto. It's like, how do we get more involved? Like, I'm involved, but how do we get more women involved in it? And what do you think will help to like balance that out, this gender divideness?
Yeah. This is a really, really big question. I mean, it's not just few female blockchain developers, it's few female developers full stop. So that's for us already a big challenge, right? We actually just last week, I was talking with a lady who runs an organization called, I think, The Bigger Pie, exactly, which is like a community of women in blockchain, which is really good. And like, they really give a lot of resources and help people on the recruitment side. And I was talking to Bridget, the founder, in terms of like how to actually think about it. And it's fascinating, for example, how important it is to, even when you write the job specs, to use language that is more inclusive. For example, there are certain words which just will sound to female developer like, hey, this is a lads environment where everyone is just competing, for the highest salary, and this will not be a friendly environment for a woman to work in. So like, it really like thinking through, kind of being deliberate about how to structure your hiring process. And there are a few sites which specifically are networks to hire female developers. So we're going to start recruiting in those specifically as well, because you really want that diversity in your team. I mean, we don't want to be a team of, we are very lucky to have a few ladies in the team who are amazing, but ultimately,
what roles are they playing in the company?
There's one is in the customer support team, one is in the marketing team. Yeah. Not yet on the, let's say, blockchain development side, but we are working on it.
Well, the customer support, I think it's, it's the best that women can do. It's to support people, and marketing. We market, right? We market to women. Women are the drivers of decisions in the world, basically.
Exactly. It's actually, we're seeing more and more women starting to trade as well, which I think it's amazing. In my opinion, honestly, women are better traders on average because they're more prudent. They pay more attention to, risk management. They don't like, men get overconfident and they think, hey, I've just made, 50% profit. I'm a genius. But actually, it's just the market going up. You're not a genius. It's the market. And women tend to be much more realistic about these kind of things. And they tend to think more conservatively. And maybe in the short term, their profits are not as huge, but it's significantly more sustainable over the long term. And I really think that's a really big deal, and it's going to improve, investment performance with having more female investors out there.
And I know about that. I don't know about that being emotional. It's a kind of a bummer in the trading world. But you can definitely get this under control probably, and just don't trade one week of the month, but otherwise it's fine. Cool. Well, let's talk about, what are you excited about in crypto, just in the blockchain industry in general? Like, what do you see it's coming soon? right? We were just having, like 3 weeks ago, Mark Zuckerberg spoke about metaverse and all this like crazy ideas. But what do you see being very, heavily involved in having your own startup and company in that environment, like what people are speaking about, and specifically in London? It's like you are on the other side of the world.
Yeah, I mean, there are so many things I'm so excited about, right? It's incredible. Maybe the thing that I am like kind of, let's say, on the big picture, the most excited about is how fast the space is moving. Because I mean, in the current, let's say, in the Web2 world, where everything is closed source, it's kind of innovation happens like piece by piece in closed environments. Like each company comes up with their own innovations. But in an environment where everything is permissionless, everything is open source, teams just take code from other teams, start building on top. But like, it's not like you're stealing the code, you're actually contributing ultimately to it. You're contributing to the community. So you're getting a completely different just vibe. It feels like, hey, we're all in this together. We are building an industry together where just different parts are building different bits, if that makes sense. And it's just, I see teams ship products and reach, milestones like, $1 billion in annual revenue type of gigantic milestones at a speed that is completely unprecedented in like the traditional financial world. And what I'm personally also excited about, like, let's say on the more kind of technological level, so I'm quite like, there are obviously a lot of layer 1 blockchains competing with each other. I'm quite involved in the Ethereum ecosystem. Like I'm a fan of a lot of like projects out there. I think Solana is a fantastic ecosystem, fantastic project, Polkadot, Avalanche. But for me, Ethereum, it has the biggest community. It has like, I really enjoy the ethos. And Ethereum has really been suffering from extremely high gas prices and obviously priced out a lot of people. But in a way, that's almost a good sign. It's been so expensive because so many people are using it, right? Now, there's incredible amount of innovation happening in so-called layer 2 scaling solutions for Ethereum. And one of them that I'm the most excited about are zero knowledge based rollups. And that will like completely change the game. I'm not gonna like bore people, with too much detail, but like just Google zero knowledge proofs, and like this will completely change how cryptography works in the next 5 to 10 years. And I think that's super exciting.
Awesome. Yeah. What do you think about metaverse? Like, what is your take on the metaverse?
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously there'll be a lot of crazy things coming out of it, right? Let's say I'm more on the decentralized finance side. Like I've got my fair share of pretty rubbish NFTs that I bought over the last 6 months. I think it's exciting to see what kind of games will come out of it. Like, are we gonna be like literally working out of the metaverse? Like, are people going to have work meetings in it? Are we gonna use like virtual reality with it? What
do you think? Are we going to or not?
Yes. Oh
You
yeah,
think
for
yes?
sure. For
Wow.
sure. For sure.
Interesting.
Just for me, the question is, I don't think that's going to happen in the next 2 years, 3 years.
Oh, no, absolutely not. It's very interesting that you think that we actually going to work in, virtual reality glasses, because what's on United States sites, what I see in the bloggers and like YouTubers in the community, that people say, oh, damn, no, like I'm not going to sit the whole day in VR glasses. And interesting that in Europe, people are like, yes, let's do it.
Look, I tell you, the thing is, it's still such early days.
It's
like
very early.
10 years ago, someone would have said, like, I will never spend my day on video calls. And what are we doing now? We are spending the day on video calls, right? There's still a lot more to come from it, but it's early days.
Absolutely. I wanted to ask you, like, what do you think the successful entrepreneur, or let's say you're at startup companies, it's all the same thing, that you're really working for yourself. What's the top 3 characteristics that you think you need to embody to be successful?
As an entrepreneur, yeah?
As an entrepreneur, as entrepreneur.
So the number one is persistence, simply because startups don't die, they commit suicide. we had a lot of periods where we were basically dead, like we had no money as a company, but we just refused to go away. At the end of the day, if the founders, we can cut our own salary, we can work for free. Is it fun? No. Is it because we had like a lot of money on the bank account? No. At various points, like it was a pretty precarious situation. We had, just when COVID was starting last March, we had basically a funding round pretty much ready. We had a term sheet on the table, and within days, it was around the 10th of March, completely collapsed. The fund pulled out. We had no money in the bank account, and it was looking like the world is ending, right? Which was very scary. But we just, we cut our salaries and we just kept going, and here we are. So it's, at the end of the day, it's kind of like you have to have that persistence. So that's number one. Number two, I don't know how to summarize it in one word, but the number one, like the most important thing will be your relationship with your co-founders. You need to be able to kind of call it diplomacy, call it, empathy. You need to be able to find like there'll be times you want to kill your co-founders, but like it's just normal, right? It's like a super intense relationship basically for years and years. So you really need to find the ways to work with them and deal with them. And three, like, look, you need to have luck as well. And like luck, according to the what Greek or Roman philosopher Seneca, is when preparation meets opportunity, right? And that it can take years for an opportunity to come up, but you need to be prepared. And in that situation, you'll find yourself lucky. It's like, when Twitter was starting and no one, or was it, no, sorry, not Twitter, let's say Dropbox was starting and no one really needed Dropbox. And then iPhones came up and suddenly you had not one device, the computer, but you had two devices and you wanted to sync data between them. And suddenly Dropbox was like the hottest thing ever. But it's not like it was their luck in a way that the iPhone came up, right? So you need that luck as well, but you need to be prepared to have it.
Mm-hmm. So what I'm hearing, it's very important to just, stay human when the times it's tough and keep going and be committed to whatever you're doing. And they will pay off.
Keep doing and take advantage when your lucky break comes.
Or be open to possibilities, right? Take the possibilities when they come in. Because there's so many times they come in and we're like, that's not real, or maybe that's not a good idea. But it's like, you just got to go for it.
Yeah. And it's something you learn from how to kind of, the best entrepreneurs will have a decision-making framework, how to evaluate these kind of opportunities. And you're going to be wrong so many times. But if you can look back and you can say, hey, these were my assumptions, this is what went wrong, but my assumptions made sense at the time. And then you keep improving your decision-making framework, you're going to improve as an entrepreneur, because the next opportunity you say yes, but again, your decision will be better than the last time. So you kind of need to be willing to learn from the decisions you make as well.
Great. So starting creating your decision-making sheet or whatever, cheat sheet, decision-making cheat sheet.
I do that actually. I've got like I call it my little book of big decisions, where I write down decisions I make and then kind of go through the whys and assign probabilities and things like that.
Oh, that is so cool. Oh, cool. I would ask you to share, but I know that's kind of personal thing. That is that is a good thing. Awesome. So good to chatting with you, Oleg. And what do you have for our audience today, where they can find you, or would you like to share anything? I know.
Yeah, sure. So first of all, visit us on coinrule.com. That's our landing page. You can sign up. You can sign up for a free account. If you have any, you can ask. We don't have the community open, but you can just message our support and they'll invite you in. You can find me on Twitter at @Giberstein. That's Giberstein, like my first letter of my first name and my last name. You can message me on Twitter.
Awesome. So good. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing. And if you are listening or watching to this podcast, and I know some people said, I did not know that you are on YouTube just yet. You actually can see the video version of this interview. So definitely go and subscribe and put some comments and likes on our YouTube, that you can find everything in the show notes, and everything that we mentioned today will be down below, either down in the caption or down on podcast page. Thank you so much, and I will see you next week.
Thank you so
Bye.
much, Viktoriia. Bye-bye.